we received a little more money and we spent a little more money than budgeted for. But there were a few things that stood out to me, like some of the variability in the projections, like obviously benefits in every category were more. I would assume that's healthcare. But the other one that I noticed were these other purchased services, like in special education, support services, personal services, employee benefits, it's there again, but purchased services, purchased professional technical services. When you go under support service instructional staff, again, the purchasing of professional technical services is way out of whack. Under support services, pupil health, purchase of professional technical services is it like 4,000% over or variability. And under operational maintenance plans, the professional services again is really high. What are those items like?
So some of that is like our speech therapy and occupational therapists. Those are under the professional services numbers. We've been not able to find those types of employees to hire. So some of that is those purchased professional services that we've had to outsource. Some of that is substitute teachers that we've spoken about, that we had a higher substitute teacher rate this year than we had budgeted. We also had some projects that weren't originally in the budget that we ran through the budget. If you remember, we had the grant for the wall project that happened at the beginning of the year, that we moved all of those funds back into the general fund instead of capital reserve because of the grant that we received. So that wasn't budgeted. So a lot of those things came into the buildings and grounds department. So I can get you a list of those, but those are the kind of areas that are in those 400 level accounts.
Okay. Yeah. And I just share this with the public, because after the last meeting, we all face a lot of questions from the public, but we received a little less locally than we expected from a revenue standpoint. Received a decent amount more from the state and less from the federal government. I think you're seeing some of the impact of the politics, right? We got less from the federal government this year, particularly in the medical assistance. There was very little reimbursement compared to what we had budgeted for, and that impacts what we do. I saw, and I don't know what it is, $2.6 million less in intermediate sources. What are those? That's locally, right? What are those sources?
Let me zip up here and look and see what we are.
I mean, it was a significant enough amount that it caught my eye. And I'm just trying to have everybody understand or
So that's the IDEA grant, and that funds at the end of the year. So that's why this is labeled as a preliminary report. So this is the June 30th report, but it doesn't include the accruals. So that $2.6 million we will probably get. It's just not been accrued into the revenue sources yet. So that's what that is in that category.
Okay, so that's helpful. I think that was about it. But yeah, I just thought it was important to bring that up, because to me, that's like the most valuable financial report we get, like in real time, as real as it can be. And then you see the encumbrances, right? They're the things that we just haven't paid for yet. Okay. That's all I had. Anybody else?
Just to piggyback a little bit on what Sue said, and we've analyzed this, and we're looking at options both on the school age and the non-school age side, is looking at contracted services. We've estimated the contracted services can cost up to a 50% surcharge when you're looking at paying an outside service provider versus internal, and that is including wages, benefits, retirement, et cetera. So one of the things that we are doing is looking at what positions and what we are paying outside of to contracted services that can be brought internal, adds efficiency to the operations, and also is it a cost savings Because these are, again, unfunded mandates. These are not optional. These are things that are outlined in a student's IEP that we are required to provide. So if we can't provide them internally, we are forced to then go outside to outside contract service providers to do so. So the more that we can look at internalizing and having them be district employees, it adds a lot of efficiency and cost savings across the board. So we've analyzed that for both school age and non-school age because it does hit some of our grants that cover, especially our pre-Ks. So that's a big one that we're looking at right now. And it's not a little bit, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's one of the pieces that we're focusing on right now from a fiscal standpoint.
I think it highlights the staffing challenges that you guys face throughout the district. And when you can't staff, you got to buy it from somebody else. And there's a profit motive out there, and that's what we're up against. And that's what you guys are up against every day. So I thought it was important to share that with everybody. Anybody else? All right. All in favor of approving the items under 4 finance list of payments, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to education. Under A, dual credit agreement with the Pennsylvania Highlands Community College. Administration requests approval of the dual credit agreement with the Pennsylvania Highlands Community College that was presented to us. Under B, administration requests approval of the attached 1-year 26-27 agreement between AASD, Cycle Financial Life Cycle Education. Cost is not to exceed $1,500. C, administration requests retroactive approval of the MOU between Child Advocates of Blair County and the Altoona Area School District Preschool Early Intervention, effective July 1, 2026 through June 30, 2027. D, administration requests approval of the attached MOU between Blair Senior Services Foster Grandparents Project and the Altoona Area School District, effective August 1st, 2026 through August 31st, 2027. Under E, administration requests retroactive approval of the assurance for the operation of preschool early intervention for the 26-27 year. Under F, we were provided a list of volunteers to approve. Under G, administration requests approval to enter into a continuation agreement with NWEA MAP assessments for students in grades K through 8 for the 26-27 school year, not to exceed $60,000 to be paid from various locally budgeted accounts. Under H, administration recommends contracting with Benton's Builders to remove existing playground layout, dig and install new footers for new playground and install new playground. Approval to proceed with purchasing the playground unit from MRC Recreation. Total cost of unit and construction not to exceed $53,000. Cost to be paid from the PTA and Principal 617 account. This is at McAuliffe Heights, by the way, their playground. I, administration requests approval to enter into a continuation agreement with Savis 6 through 8 for science materials in a 5-year agreement not to exceed $325,000. This includes all updated text, online materials, and professional development. I, administration requests approval of the following letter of agreement with Impact Counseling in the Altoona Area School District Elementary Schools. Costs not to exceed $100,000. K, administration requests approval to add the new course, Materials Processing, Wood 1. This elective tech ed introductory course for woodworking will be a semester course for half credit, available to all grades 9 through 12 students in the fall of 2026. And under L, administration requests approval of the MOU between Child Advocates of Blair County, CABC, and the Altoona Area School District. Seeking a motion to approve items A through L under 5's education. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Yeah, just real quick on the playground at McAuliffe Heights. The total sale, what's the discount? Was a pretty heavy discount on that for 30,000? Is that just,
Yes, they just did, they did a discounted rate because it was a school playground. So they often do that when they're working with different projects. So
so,
they gave us a very hefty
I'll
discount.
say, so we buy the equipment and then we hire somebody to install it, correct? Is that what I'm seeing here? Okay. That was very nice of the PTO to do that.
Yes, the gala that they had, the fundraising efforts, the efforts from the PTA, the parents, the teachers, the staff, Mrs. Gray, everyone did a great job raising funds, and then are contributing a portion from the principal's account as well, which comes from, a lot of different monies are filtering into that, as well. But the PTA did yeoman's work to make that happen. So we're excited about
It
that.
was very nice. Thank them for us. Thanks. Just, it's a really nice gesture.
It's great to see woodworking come back. I mean, I was like, that's awesome.
So I just want to, just a real quick comment on that. So our high school staff has done a phenomenal job of utilizing our STEM lab. So what we found is that there's a lot of kids that don't want to, they can't commit to a 4-period CTC schedule half of their day, but wanted some manufacturing and production classes, some robotics and engineering, and other pieces. So utilizing those spaces to provide opportunities for students that maybe couldn't commit to a full half day at the CTC, but wanted that hands-on opportunity. So again, credit to our high school staff for really developing those courses. Mr. Harrington leading that motivation to really create some new electives.
We have over 170 students that did sign up for the program. We have a wonderful woodworking shop back there if you ever wanted to see it. We have a lot of brand new equipment in there. So
Did you have somebody to teach it?
yes,
How many
Wow.
kids signed up?
we had over 170 students sign up for it.
And they'll all be able to take.
Yeah, it's a
advantage of-
semester course, so I think it's offered like 5 times a day in the spring and the fall.
Yeah.
So
Pretty good. I agree.
Cool.
How big is our tech ed in the school district?
So you have 4 tech ed teachers at the junior high school.
Uh-huh.
All junior high school students get a semester of tech ed in 6th grade. Then there are electives offered in engineering and design, production and manufacturing, television production and internet web services, and drafting. So they have those opportunities in 8th grade. And then in 9th grade, when you come over here, that expands to coding, all of our computer sciences, all of the robotics and manufacturing pieces. The lab right behind you here is your drafting lab. So we have multiple levels of different programming courses in different computer languages. So all of that combines between the high school and the junior high school. We have 3 dedicated. We include our biomedical program in that program as well. So if you include that, 4 teachers that are dedicated to providing that curriculum.
Good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all in favor of approving items A through L under 5, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to 6, personnel. We were provided the personnel agenda items. Administration requests some approval of the attached personnel agenda items. Under B, administration recommends approval of the attached memorandum of agreement between the Altoona Area School District and AAEA. C, administration recommends approval of the attached addendum with ESS Northeast for the purposes of certified district-based substitutes. And D, administration recommends approval of the attached memorandum of agreement between the Altoona Area School District and AAEA. May I have a motion to approve items 6A through D? Do I have a second?
Second.
Would anybody like to discuss any of these items? Okay. All in favor of approving items 6A through D, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to 7, business operations. Administration requests approval of the following Amtrak bus drivers for the 26-27 school year, contingent upon receipt of all required clearances and forms. Under B, the Blair County Tax Claim Bureau has received and is requesting approval of the following repository bids presented to us. Under C, was a capital reserve list of payments presented to us. Under D, administration requests and recommends approval to purchase and install 2 sets of bleachers at the Roosevelt Field. Acquisition made via CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program. Total cost not to exceed $65,000. Payment to be made from the Capital Reserve Fund. Under E, administration requests and recommends approval to extend the parking agreement between the Altoona Area School District and Child Advocates of Blair County for the use of 5 parking spaces in the lot at Logan Elementary School. And F, administration requests and recommends approval to increase the adult meal lunch prices to $4.85 and adult meal breakfast price at $1.78. The price increase is necessary to be in compliance with funding regulations. May I have a motion to approve items 7A through F?
Can I correct a typographical error
Sure.
before you do that? That should be $1.75, not $1.78 for the breakfast price.
Okay.
So that's
Duly noted. So it wasn't me reading, it was,
that was
Okay.
me typing.
because I can't see
apparently.
too well, so. Right.
Come on, Sue.
All right. May I have a motion to approve items 7A through F?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving items 7A through F, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to, do any committee chairs have a report? I will have, I'll share a little stuff from the board president under that section. I'm on the board of, I represent us on the board of IU8. I was asked to participate in the interview of their new executive director, so we did that. We selected a new executive director for the IU8. She will start August 15th. Her name is Jennifer Anderson. She was the assistant to the executive director out there. She's a PhD. She's from Patton. She's been in the system. And then during the interview process, one of the best interviews I ever participated in was with Christina Ramsey, who's going to be the assistant executive director out there. She was the superintendent at Central Fulton School District. She's like terrific. So the IU8 will be in good hands. Also, as Brad shared with us, I get approached, I get emails from people, and I entertain them all. So a couple cool things have come from those emails. The one that will be coming up is working with Ecotopian Earth Care Jordan Replogle to do a project at Pleasant Valley Elementary School, a lawn to meadow conversion. It'll provide an opportunity to educate our students there and all that, all those cool things. So Jordan had reached out to me through some mutual people, and Brad and Haley and Trevor were kind enough to work with him on it. So that's exciting to see that come to fruition. And then not ready to share the specifics yet, but was approached by the mayor and some other community-minded people about a cool project, maybe to form a new club in the school district that would be really cool. Not ready yet, but we're working on it. But just the power of when people come and speak to us publicly, reach out via email, and we're all very responsive to this stuff. And in both cases, that's how people reached out to me, and here we go. We're moving forward with these projects, so it's pretty cool. Lastly, I wanted to take a second to recognize Mr. Pacifico here, not only for his birthday, but also the fact that his business, Pacifico Brothers Bakery, how many backpacks are you giving away, Bobby? 270 clear backpacks to elementary students in the Penn Lincoln area. So truly commendable. Thank you so much for supporting those children and students. And that's all I had. So next is Brad's opportunity.
Just piggyback on that. Thank you to Mr. Pacifico for his very generous donation, and as well, I'll maybe pull the curtain back a little bit more on what Val was referring to. So we're working on a partnership with the city of Altoona, the Altoona Police Department, the Altoona Area School District, to really provide an opportunity for the young people of this community to engage in physical activity, may or may not including boxing or boxing training, not actually beating each other up, but training and building discipline and developing a mentorship and role model program for students within the Altoona Area School District to provide them with a meaningful outlet. We're also at all levels looking at more opportunities for students to engage in social settings, whether it be through dances or other types of activities. I see that one of our parents that comes to our meetings regularly is here tonight. You know, one of the ideas and things that was brought up about, and this has been an age-old issue of young people not having a whole lot to do. You know, unfortunately, what they're doing is, you know, they're resorting to their phones and, you know, really non-personal communication. And we want to bring back more opportunities for students to engage in positive communication, relationship building, not just with one another, but also with adults that can provide them with mentorship and role modeling that will benefit them. So I know that we've talked about some different programs for a number of years, but the more that we can get our families and our parents to take a proactive role in our schools with our kids, the better off we're going to build communities. So I always want to thank Val and the citizens of our community for bringing those things to us. We listen to all of them, and any of them that we can try to enact that we feel like our kids will benefit from, we're going to take full advantage of. So we have a couple community partners that run some gyms and that are willing to volunteer time. They're going to work with staff and other people to bring these opportunities to our students. And our principal's been excellent in looking at facilities and how we can make this happen for our kids. So thank you to the community. Thank you to our board members and the leadership that they bring out in the community to the school district. So thank you.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I didn't know I was at liberty to discuss it, but you know, I had the opportunity to meet some of the kids from our school district who are already involved in boxing, and I met a lot of kids, and these would be in the 99th percentile of gentlemen, polite, courteous, respectful, and I was just really impressed. And I heard a story that somebody tried to engage in a fight with one of these students, and he said, "I'm not allowed to. You know, I'm in this club, and I'm not allowed to." And this club is to reach anybody with an interest. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to. It's for anybody, because it's really about the discipline of training and not about fighting, obviously. So it could be a positive outlet for these kids. So yeah, excited to get that rolling. And that was, like Brad said, that was the city, some community people, and us, and it's going to be pretty cool, I think, once we get it going. Moving on, for information only, we were provided a list of payment of credits. That's for information only. Lastly, do we have an employee unions response? Usually not. Middle management? Usually not. Mr. Beard.
So two things. I know over the past, I've talked about what we always get as we go into the final leg of the state budget. We always get that omnibus school bill. And then this year, I cautioned everybody, they had cell phones out there and they sort of went by the wayside. I was more concerned about the bullying, cyberbullying portion of the school code, which is up there around 1303, like 0.1, et cetera. And they gave us probably 15, 18 years ago, bullying, cyberbullying, and you have to have these policies in place. But the biggest concern when they first started this one House bill was like 830, I might be off in the number, is like if you get a report of bullying, you have to let somebody know within 24 hours. And remember, this was on the skirts of Act 44. If a weapon comes into school, you have to immediately, within 24 hours, report. Well, that actually did make it through the final version, so the school code will be amended. It included now a definition of cyberbullying, but most of our policies that already exist have cyberbullying, as do your handbooks. And it didn't have artificial intelligence, but I outlined before the Federal Take It Down Act or the changes to the Pennsylvania Crimes Code, where people might take their cell phone and undress somebody like Mr. Pappas or Mr. Pacifico, and they think it's funny and they send it off. I encouraged everybody to turn around and include those in your handbooks, your policies, and your in-services, and putting them on the website, because those are now crimes code violations. They're serious crimes code violations. When you looked at your prior policy on 249 bullying or cyberbullying, if it's here, they used to have an optional portion of it that you would deal with information that occurred, or alleged bullying or cyberbullying that occurred outside of the school setting. Well, unfortunately, I've always said schools can't be all things to all people, because you can't police what occurs on the weekends, what occurs out there. But now this will probably get defined a little bit more, but apparently based on the legislation, there's going to be an affirmative obligation to look at cyberbullying that occurs outside of school. It comes back in, there's a nexus, it permeates. And of course, now, once this comes in, you have to investigate it. Then you have to notify the perpetrator and the victim. And then starting, I believe, next reporting year, into 27, you're going to have to include this part of your safe schools reports, which places more on Billy and the taxes of the district. I mean, just taxing administration, but you're going to have to do a lot to reach out and then investigate, document, and notify people. And it's like one of those more mandates that places more of a strain on administration. And I would say, just generally, spending 39 years in education, people always use the term, well, you bullied me. Well, there's a definition: severe and pervasive. And, not all those things, one-time incident, does it occur? Is it a violation of your code of conduct? Probably. Does it rise to the level of bullying? But unfortunately now, we're going to have to report this back. It's going to place a significant drain on administration. The second thing, I always told you we do our school law symposium in special ed. That is going to occur September 23rd. We have nailed down all of the presenters. I know you have a large group of special ed department, and I would encourage the supervisors and the psychologists to make it, because we're doing dueling psychologists this year. We have Ray Christner back, who's going to do a deep dive into intellectual disability and emotional disturbance and everything that goes bump in the night, and what we really need to look for, because as we know, special ed can cost a lot. A district this size, you might spend $12 million and only get 5 or 6 million back, and it's cost you another 6 or 7. Anything we can do to reduce costs would be great. And we have Dr. Shirley Woyka, who has done independent educational evaluations for schools in Blair County and other places. She is going to outline recommendations when we do evaluations, things that we sometimes miss, and why we select certain assessments, and what looks good in FBAs and things like that. We brought in a parent's attorney from Reuter Law out in Pittsburgh to basically say, this is the perspective of parents on FAPE. So when you get a parent says, I'm represented, you need to know they're going to tell you in a checklist format, this is what we're going to come in and look at. We're going to look at your evaluations. We're going to look at your FBAs. We're going to look at your IEPs, your goals, your SDIs. This is what we're going to look at. Former hearing officer Charles Jelly, he's been a frequent presenter, but he's going to come in and say, here, these are the big cases in the last few years that impact the day-to-day operations of schools from a special ed standpoint. And then I'm going to present, and I'm going to do all the scary stuff to make school sure everybody's on track. Things you need to be aware of, things you may not think of. And it's a one-day program. They'll have an online version, an in-person version, and they're going to do it down at IU8, and it's going to run through about 3 o'clock. But this is probably one of the better ones than we've had over the last 10 years, and I would say you don't want to meet it. And just following up from what Val said, I know Christine Ramsey from Central Fulton. She's going to bring a great dynamic rural perspective to this area of operating schools, and she has a pretty good solid background in special ed as well. So great addition to the IU, and I was pleased to hear that's one of the better interviews that you have attended in a long time. That's it. I know I said a lot tonight, so sorry about that.
All right, you're just paid to be here, not by how much time you speak, so we're good. All right. All right. I will now seek a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.